I'm Vince Shari, Mobile Training Officer for the Ohio School Safety Center. In this video, we will discuss how planning and preparedness among school staff and law enforcement pays big dividends when a crisis occurs. When law enforcement and school staff train, practice, and prepare together, they are usually on the same page when it comes to how to handle the response to virtually any incident. Today, we're going to hear from school officials in Massillon who effectively reacted and responded to a swatting call incident. Their quick response, prior training, and relationships with local law enforcement enabled an successful outcome. Listen to their story and look for best practices you can implement in your school.
You hope and you pray that you never have to work through a real life situation such as we dealt with on the fourth day of school. But you also know as a building principal that you have to convey the message to your staff, to your assistant principals, to your secretary staff, that should there be a situation, we have to treat almost every day and every moment that if something were to happen, here are the contingency plans.
You never can prepare for every situation. That's impossible. But we've tried to embed over the years safety and security as a primary goal.
We've got a couple of days with the staff, and obviously you go through a lot of the building logistics as they're coming back for the school year. But we've also gone through, and it's not only reminding through video, through documents, through words, through pictures. It's not going just through those things for your veteran staff, because sometimes principals, I think, will just constantly believe that you were a teacher last year, you got the memo last year, it's the same thing as last year, so we're going to do the same thing as we did last year. I think it's important to just treat every year as a brand new year. And as I'm always talking to the staff for those first couple of days, I've also got, as a reminder to most principals, you've got between 6 and 10 new teachers that are out there that don't know the first thing about what to do, how to do it, and how to respond to it.
So when we had the swatting incident, the individuals that took the call were our front office staff.
Attendant Secretary Miss Allen took the phone call, and she radioed me to come down to the main office and gave me the details of the phone call. And as I recall, it was around 11 o'clock or so, but there was some time that the caller had left. Not that it gave us a whole lot of time to deal with it, because I've never taken a phone call like that. But again, it's almost a moment where I don't want to let my panic become everybody else's problem.
There was multiple calls that we received, so we went ahead and reacted. I'd say within the first probably 10 minutes after we received the second call, we started to react and have a pretty quick plan in place.
So I immediately called my school resource officer to my office.
The importance of our school resource officer. To be honest with you, we'd love to even have more. I can't even probably put it in words how important it is, because to have an individual there with that type of training to communicate and correspond with immediately is critical in all emergency scenarios.
And you're just kind of working through the scenarios of you don't know how credible the threat is. In my opinion, as a building principal, my initial response is, I've never dealt with this before. It sounded very, very real. And quite frankly, I'm not going to put the lives of 1,200 kids and 120 staff members at risk.
We practiced evacuations, but you know, when you're put into a real scenario, it definitely makes you think on a lot of different angles. Very pleased with, once we set up our incident command at Washington High School, we started to really delegate, okay, school personnel, we need you to do this. And we leaned on our local law enforcement.
We decided to make that call to evacuate the building. I did, before I hit the button for evacuation, I actually went on to our PA announcement through our phone system, and I just sort of gave the staff and students a lay of the land. I didn't tell them any specifics. I just told them that we were going to conduct something that was not a drill, and that we were going to be evacuating the building. just as we do a fire drill. Please do this, remember to do this, staff be with your students, etc., and tried to keep it as calm as I could to make sure that the plan was executed the way that I wanted it to be executed.
I believe it was Captain Meyer that came to our building from the Massillon Police Department that sort of took control, and we went through each layer. Our superintendent was on site, our communications coordinator were on site. He's obviously the spokesperson of our district. They were coordinating the communication side of things with our parents. Officers that were on site were taking care of the entry points to Washington High School, because we didn't want people coming into the campus. We then made that determination that there needed to be a full search. Massillon Police Department coordinated with Canton Police Department. We were able to get dogs into the building in under an hour, and 2 dogs, which is not, those are not common. Those dogs are not common around the state of Ohio. There's only so many of those. Our school day ends at 2:05, and this whole scenario lasted for about 2.5 hours. We were able to re-enter the building with our students and staff by 1:30.
The key to our school resource officer that most people, that I've seen firsthand is his direct or her direct connection to the fire department, to, in this case, bomb dogs, the sheriff, other county sheriff. He can get to people a lot quicker than I can get to people, and they listen to him a lot more.
The importance of the relationship with our police chief, our police in general. Our police chief was sworn in about a year ago, and I made it a purposeful piece to start to develop the relationship with him, and he also did with me, fortunately. And we speak at least once a week.
The closer that you can become to your SRO and to really use them as a resource. I mean, that's obviously the word inside of that acronym is school resource officer. They are a resource. They have knowledge about situations in kids and families and the community, trends. Our school resource officer presents at our staff meetings. What's going on? What are the new drugs? What are you seeing out there? What are the threats? How can my staff help the police? I try to make them a part of our staff as much as I possibly can.
What I would tell other districts is you make it an intentional, it's a true intentional purpose to keep knocking on that door if there is a little bit of a roadblock there. We meet with our mayor of our city. We meet with our safety and security director of our city, our police chief of our city. Prior to the school year, we meet every summer.
So that relationship is critical when it comes to just, again, relying on them for the things that maybe a principal thinks that they know, but they really don't know. And if we're being real, you have to rely on those safety forces because they're specially trained in doing things that I'm not trained to do as a school principal. So my job is to support them, to work with them, and to use them in roles in our school building to help support the mission that I have for it.
The best thing I could say is everyone stepped up. There were so many things that you might not put down on paper on a plan, but when the situation arises, it hits you in front of your face.
As far as the advice towards other school administrators, the one thing that we've done consistently that I do like is doing those lockouts, lockdowns, and making it almost comfortable. The last time we did our Marks radio check, which is basically call everybody in the county and the whole cavalry comes in the whole 9 yards. I actually had my secretaries hit the button. And they looked at me with this face that they just weren't supposed to touch that button. And I thought it was important when I radioed it down. I said, Nancy, I want you to hit that button. We need to do a check on this. And she said, okay, the orange button. Yeah, the orange button. All you got to do is just push it in. And so you could tell there's some apprehension there. So the more you make it a daily or monthly thing, unfortunately in the 21st century, this is what we have to do is make this a monthly repetitive process to where we bring stakeholders in, we're doing drills, We're making it a part of our existence almost. It still might not prevent anything, but at least it makes the game and the pitcher slow the pitches down for you so you can take a good shot at the ball.
So, my biggest piece of advice is continue to have those conversations with, our local support, our state support, like the Ohio School Safety Center. Continue that feedback, continue those open conversations, and we need to learn and lean on each other. There can't be any silos when it comes to school safety. And that would be the only thing I would say would be, critical. Just continue to move forward is continue to work together to keep our schools a safer place.
As we just heard, planning and practice in advance are key components to any school emergency response program. But what else did we learn? Quick communication of all pertinent information among key responders is vital. That's why establishing good relationships between educators and law enforcement before an incident occurs goes a long way to ensure a coordinated and effective response. I would like to thank the school staff from Massillon who took the time out of their busy schedules to be interviewed for this report. And thank you for watching.